afternoon, everyone. We all know the story of the stoning of Stephen in Acts chapter 7. And as we take a look at this, we can see that Stephen cries out when he's being put to death. In verse 59, he says, "Lord Jesus, receive my spirit." You remember, because of his faith, he spoke out against the Hebrew leaders and said, "You guys missed the prophets, you put them to death. You missed Jesus, you put him to death." This so angers them that they're stoning Stephen. And he says, "Lord Jesus, receive my spirit." So why does he call Jesus Lord? And what does that mean? In the Greek, as this is written, he calls him Kurios, meaning that is my Lord or my master. So let's take a look and see what that actually means. Kurios in the Greek, we have to go back to the Hebrew. We take a look how God introduced his name, Yahweh, YAHWEH, to Moses in Exodus chapter 3 at the burning bush. Modern English Bibles won't typically use the name Yahweh or the consonants for that. They will transfer that to Lord. Now, there's nothing conspiratorial there. They're just being very respectful. Even readers at the time who would read the Tanakh at the time and they'd see the name Yahweh in the Old Covenant, in the Old Testament, they would just call him Adonai, meaning my Lord, instead of Yahweh, so that they wouldn't mispronounce or use his name in vain. As time progresses, about 200 years prior to Christ, the Hebrew scriptures are translated into Greek. And that word Lord, that was Adonai or Yahweh, we see very clearly it becomes Kurios. That is the name for God, or Yahweh God. So Stephen, as we see, he cries out, "Lord Jesus, receive my spirit." He's calling him Yahweh God, Kurios. Has this Kurios been used for God himself in the past? Of course. Take a look at Matthew chapter 4 and verse 10, where Jesus is in the desert being tempted by the devil. And it says, "Then says Jesus unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord, Kurios, thy God, and him only shalt thou serve." You can see that Stephen, even in his death, was confirming that he's calling out to Yahweh God. And Jesus is the second person of the Godhead. He is Yahweh God. Without question, he is the one, the Logos, the intelligence of God, the wisdom of God that came in flesh and came to this earth. And he was the Lord of Stephen.